Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. And as usual, it's another packed to back or not to back this week with a whole bunch of stuff. Starting off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and just start us off with Going Analog Quiz Show. This is a channel I've talked about before. I really enjoy their content. I highly recommend. Basically, like once a week, you can spend 11-12 minutes playing along with someone else in the space, and just as they go through different quiz options or whatnot. I just finished filming my episode with them. No spoilers. That'll be going up in a few weeks, so I'll be talking about them then as well. But as usual, I've talked about this before, they're at 900 subscribers. In general, crossing that 1,000 mark is such a huge milestone for various creators. This is worth your time. Like, I'm telling you legitimately, I would not pitch this if it weren't immensely fun. If you want to test your own quiz knowledge, watch these, play along with them as they go, and see if you can figure out and how well you score in these quiz shows. But yeah, Going on a Lot Quiz Show is the first thing. Secondly, from there, we'll go ahead and jump into the giveaway. The giveaway for the Chronicles of Renegade Apocalypse base pledge. That's going to be a giveaway we ran on the channel. If you commented on my video, top upcoming Kickstarters for July, if you commented on that with the word Apocalypse, so we have the video here, filter for duplicate users. We're going to do with the hashtag Apocalypse, which is the word, not hashtag, just the text. And then we're going to go ahead and start and pick a winner. So let's go ahead and start. Dun, 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 dun. We have JT, Chronicles of Renegade Apocalypse. If I win, how do I pledge for the rest? Great question. I don't know the answer. Let's figure it out. So you go ahead and contact me. My email's alex@boardgameco.com. It's in the email. It's in the description of every single video. Go ahead and contact me. I'll try to comment on your comment as well. But either way, try to get a hold of me so we can figure out the answer to your incredibly reasonable question. Secondly, from there, while we are on the subject, Chronicles of Renegade, another thing they actually done is they have done what they did is they said that effectively this is gonna be a bit of a Patreon push, mini Patreon push. But they said they were nice enough to say that anyone who's a Patreon of myself, King of Average, I believe Quacklope as well, but double check, I'm not certain. If you're a Patreon of any one of the three of us, you will get a free Handuriel mini when you back for the game. I'm pretty sure it's Handuriel, I'll have to double check. But basically you get a free miniature if you're a Patreon of any one of the three of us. So that's another reason to be a Patreon if you're not already. Speaking of which, I'm not going to overly go into it, but I do have a weekly series called Unfair and Unbalanced where I talk about Kickstarters. That is a Patreon exclusive series. Goes up every single Monday basically. I'll talk about it more at the end of the video if you want to hear more about that. So timestamp down below if you want to jump to there. I don't want to take up too much of your time at the beginning. I mean, I appreciate if you're a Patreon, but this is only so much I can really push in any given video. And with that, let's go ahead and start ourselves off. So to that end, what do we have today? We're going to have, as usual, we're going to have Kickstarter, a board game adjacent. We're going to have things that are not funding, and it's a tough week for things that are not funding. There's a whole bunch of games right now that are just really struggling. I'm curious whether it's the games, the current people being burnt out. I don't know what the reason is. There's a bunch of games not funding. We're going to go through all of those. Then I'll go through various updates. And then finally, of course, the games that are currently on Kickstarter, the ones, you know, to talk about and all of that. I feel like there's something else I was going to say. Oh, and maybe this week I'll finally remember to give you my picks of the week, my value pick of the week and personal pick of the week. I might remember. I keep forgetting to do it until like the last 10 seconds of the video. If I do forget, there'll be a pinned comment down below. I don't know why I keep forgetting. Either way, let's start us off. Warrior Playmats. This is going to be board game adjacent. Warrior Playmats is going to be a company that they put out, I believe they put out a Cthulhu column. Arkham Horror. They put out some sort of playmat for something Cthulhu or Arkham. I don't remember what that one was. What I do know is this is going to be a playmat option for Mage Knight. If you've played Mage Knight, this is going to give you your own personal playboard. You'll need one per player, as well as a one per game for these. This is going to give you the, what's it called? They're called Warrior Playmats, so they're not like, you know, infringing on any copyright or anything like that. But you can see, obviously, this is a design for Mage Knight. They're not going to be cheap, but they do look really cool. It's going to be $29, 29 euro or $35 plus shipping per playmat. And if you want to get two of them, it's going to be $69. It's a lot of money to buff up your Mage Knight game. That said, if you are a hardcore Mage Knight player, these do look designed to improve the experience. I saw a picture of Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules with this playmat, and it looked amazing. If you take a look at the various testimonials from various people, if you're interested, here's going to be the Cthulhu playmats. Again, I don't remember what game this is for. I think this was for Arkham Horror. I could be mistaken. We have Damage, we have Horror, we have Hand. I think this is Arkham Horror. Could be wrong. But either way, you can go ahead and check those out as well for a two-player mat or a solo mat. They basically make board game adjacent stuff. I'm not talking about value on these ones. I generally don't with board game adjacent. Ultimately, it's a deluxeification thing. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you want to upgrade your game, I'm just letting you know about these Warrior Playmats so you can go ahead and check those out because you have 17 days to go, plenty of time left. And moving on, we have another board game adjacent, which is going to be Graphic Novels Adventures by Vanguard Games. Now, I'm actually more interested in this today than I was 2 days ago. The difference is that 2 days ago, I hadn't read any of the Command comics. I will have an unboxing later this week where I go through the Command comic collection, the miniatures I got, the upgrades, and of course the comic books. And over the weekend, I read the first one. I read a Zombicide Invader from Command Comics, and I'm not a comic like buff or expert or anything like that, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was actually a fun read, and I kind of want Command to continue their comic book lines, because I would actually... I don't know if I'd buy them. I guess you don't have an option, right? I mean, I'd want to read them is what I'm saying. But either way, because... Combine my interest with that, and the choose your own adventure aspects that Wild Ascent Lavon Rising gave me, and I am actually more interested in the graphic novel adventures from Vanguard Games. This is like their 4th or 5th one in this series. They put out one of these every once in a while. It's a series of 5. I think this is their 4th one. I could be mistaken, but it basically giving you, 5 graphic novel adventures. You can buy them each individually, or you could buy them with their slipcase cover as well, which costs extra, which I'm a little... I'll get to that. But there's going to basically be 5 graphic novel adventures. The key word is the adventure part. It's going to have elements of choose your own adventures, different themes, whatever themes interest you. In this case, if you're wondering, Sherlock Holmes was part of an entirely different Kickstarter. So to that end, they do have a pledge where you don't get that. You get the box and the other 4, but not Sherlock Holmes. So you don't worry if you do have that one particular one. They do have a pledge option for you. But these are going to give you 5 different, choose your own adventure graphic novels. I'm intrigued by them. I want to go through their lineup and see which ones I should or shouldn't get. I kind of want to get at least one and just see if my kids like it. The downside of getting one is you'd pay for shipping on one, so I just don't feel the need to go all in. I'm not interested enough in all of these, and I'm not confident my kids would like it. And for myself, I would just rather play Wild Ascent Lavon Rising. So basically, you can spend a lot of money on these. They're going to have this from Vanguard Games. They make a lot of games. They make a lot of game adjacent stuff. This is going to be the one thing that it did bother me a little bit, and they can do what they want. I just found it annoying. Is it's $15 per book. If you get the all-in pledge with the, here's going to be the option without Sherlock Holmes, but if you get the all-in pledge for $80, it's going to give you 5 books. 5 times 15 is $75, which means you're paying $5 for the slipcase. Not only are you not getting a discount, the discount, in my opinion, I'm not the creator of the game, but the discount, in my opinion, should have been, and here's your free slipcase cover if you get the set of all 5. Now, you will save on shipping, to be clear, but it's a little annoying that you're, not only not getting a discount, you're actually being charged for the case. It's a component. It costs money. I get it. But also, if someone's buying, all 5, give them the reward, right? That's the way I view it. But over here, we're going to have, choose your own adventure aspect, going through the guides, different art styles, different adventures, different things. This is something that they've done before, and they will continue to do again. Like I said already, I'm interested. I just want to find the right 1 or 2 that particularly pull me in, whether thematically or graphically. Both of those are factors for me, and then see whether I like it. Like you see over here, the entire book collection, $275, or like I said already, that brings you most of the way towards a Wild Ascent Lavon Rising pledge. I'm not trying to sell you on the game. I just like the game. That said, and we'll be talking about Wild Ascent later on in this video. Moving on, we have one of many games that are not funding yet, which is a shame to see, and some of them I'm really surprised by. So we have Game of the Year, which is going to be a board game about making video games, making a video game thing. This is going to be from someone, I can't remember the name, Nice Games Publishing. They've done things I know. I can't remember what they are though, so let's go ahead and check it out. They've done Vampire the Masquerade, that's what it was. So they did Vampire the Masquerade, which had a ton of backers, and despite the 5,000 backers, or 5,100 backers, this one is still struggling. Game of the Year looks like a fun game, and I'm curious why it's struggling. It's Kickstarter exclusive, which is always a good reason to back something already. The price point of $47, I would normally say, hey, that seems a little on the high end, or it'll probably hit retail in the $40 range, maybe $37 range, whatever it is, and then plus you're paying shipping on top of that, but it's not going to retail. They're Kickstarter exclusive. The whole thing, get the full Kickstarter exclusive game. So everything's Kickstarter exclusive, which means this is your chance of getting it, this and the secondary market, and I'm surprised that the theme is not pulling in more backers, especially with a company that has enough of a prior following. It's not like this is a first-time company and you're wondering who they are. And Game of the Year, like it says already, is a board game about making video games. You're going to be picking the theme of the game, you're going to be picking the various elements, trying to code your way. You're like coding it in terms of trying to, you choose that over here. Build your game from a large selection of games, themes, and genres. You're going to be going ahead and develop your company with various specialists, so it has tableau building. I love that. You're going to be rolling your dice to create matching resources and assign them to various games. If you don't create the games, it might generate bugs in your games. The whole thing looks like a fun theme, a unique theme, and it looks well done. As far as, content around the game, there's definitely some content. I didn't really watch any of it myself. I'm intrigued by the game. I'm not sold by the game, but I am surprised it's not doing better. I've seen, well, worse is probably a mean thing to say. I've seen games do better on Kickstarter that I would have thought would have done not as well as this game is doing. So overall, I think it'll fund, coming in at 142 backers, $5,761. I think it'll fund, but it's going to be close. Honestly, I think that's probably the best move to cancel so they can come back with a solid start instead of limping over an $11,000 line. $12,000 for a Kickstarter exclusive game, that is not... I don't see that going well at all. I would be nervous about that. So that's game of the year. If you're interested, go ahead and back it. I'm interested, but I mean, probably like many people, I'm doing what many people do, which is doesn't make sense, but I do it anyway, is I'm not backing because I'm waiting to see how things go. But we'll see. I'm intrigued by the concept. I think it's a unique theme. Next up, we have Velocity Vanguard relaunch. This is going to be a relaunch for Velocity Vanguard. I did do coverage of this game. When they first had their original Kickstarter, I was intrigued. I reached out. I played it. Then I hounded them every single month till they finally sent me the game. Well, didn't hound them. They were sending me the game. I just hounded them for updates. I wasn't hounding them for the game. That would be... You never... As a content creator, by the way, a good rule... I don't like hounding companies for games because I am prepared to say mean things, not mean, I'm prepared to say negative things about your game. The last thing I want to do to any creator is ask them 4 times, please let me be involved, please let me be involved, please let me be involved. And then I want to say something negative because then I feel this weird pressure not to be negative because I chase them. So I try not to chase people. I will ask once and then kind of leave it alone. That said, asking for updates I'll do. So my point is, weird tangent, my point is Velocity Vanguard is a game that I have been asking them for updates for the past 6 months. Finally got the game, got it to the table again, and I put out a review of it covering the game and the general aspects of the game. It's going to be a very unique game with a one-trick pony mechanism that is not one-trick pony in the sense that they've given it life and longevity and breathed a lot of fresh air into that one-trick pony by giving it scenarios and different ship upgrades and weapons and crew and all these different things around that singular mechanism to actually make it stand out and have lasting life, which is my big concern with the original game. This time around, they have Dice Tower coverage. I covered it. I have to check the names, who else covered it, but they're currently only at 362 backers, which I'm surprised by. It's more than the original Kickstarter, but it's still shy. Now, I think they will fund, based on when they launched, based on whatever, I think they will fund, so I think it will actually fund this time, which is nice, because speaking selfishly, I would like a copy of the game, and if it doesn't fund, it's going to be hard to get a copy of the game. So that's going to be Velocity Vanguard. Let's talk about the pledge levels, basically. Pledge levels are going to be $79 for the Vanguard core game. You can buy additional ships as expansion options, but really the core game is going to give you enough content if you're wondering over there. And it's going to be the biggest thing I would warn you is this is a big table hog. You understand, well, actually I'd warn you of a few things, or you can watch my review and watch all the things I warned you about. But it's a big table hog. It has a very thinky mechanism. You have to be comfortable with trying to think through how are you going to get your ship to curve through space and avoid that rocket while simultaneously drifting around the asteroid and firing your laser at your opponent's ship. That is actually what the game plays like, by the way. That little sentence I just said, that is actually how the game feels when you play it. You feel cool when you're playing this game. I know we just had the Fast and the Furious board game by... what's the name again? Prosborough Hall, whatever it is. But this game feels like Fast and Furious in space. It feels like you have to plan your drifts. You have to try to execute both avoiding and, you know, literally you'll be drifting around an asteroid, dropping a mine to stop the person chasing you while trying to shoot your laser, hitting 2 ships along the way, only so you can then turn around and reverse dock on the enemy spaceship. It literally has moments like that left, right, and center. This game is an absolute blast to play. It feels very cool when you start feeling like you'll master things. Don't worry, though. There'll be a healthy dose of comeuppance as various missiles do hit your ships, because that will happen. You might be able to dish your lasers on your opponents, but opponents will dish their lasers right back at you. I really enjoyed this one. Solid game. I hope it funds. I think it's on track to fund. Very cool components as well, by the way. The central board is kind of plain because it's meant to be guiding you through space. But those ships, some of the better ship models I've seen, very, very cool, very unique, and they feel cool. This game feels like a cool game. That's going to be Velocity Vanguard. Next up, we have Battle Peak, another game that's not funding so far, and this one I do not think will fund, unfortunately. Battle Peak does not look like it's doing well right now. Some of it's might be a combination of box art. I don't know what the full aspect is. We have €33 or $40 going to be giving you the Kickstarter edition of the game. I don't think this one would really make its way to retail, at least as of now, so it does make it to a certain extent Kickstarter exclusive. I haven't really watched the content of the game, but the game appeals to me. The general idea of the game is going to be a bunch of people on a mountain and pushing people off the mountain. Now, I'm not saying I'd back it or not. I try lots of games appeal to me. If you watch my series of videos where I tell you what I backed or didn't back, I end up backing as many as I don't back because I have to have some degree of self-control. So maybe that's the aspect. Maybe this is the people's self-control pick of the month. But overall, the game looks cool. You have lots of powers and abilities, which is, I'm a sucker for powers and abilities. You have the idea of pushing people off the mountains. I haven't looked into the gameplay enough to know where it lands in terms of whether it's a quick, fun little play a card or whatnot, or whether there's real depth to the system, so I can't comment on that. All I can tell you is it looks cool, and sadly, it's not funding just yet. The artwork I'm not a fan of, I'll say that. I like these cards. These cards look beautiful and simple and do a good job. The general artwork of the Wizards doesn't pull to me. That could be part of it as well, I don't know. But it's an interesting theme. Interesting game, currently not funding. Bring it to your attention in case you are interested. Next up, and we're not done with the not funding category. In fact, I think this is the last one. Let's see, this is going to be the last one in the not funding category. Like I said, it's a big week. Now this one is going to be Millennium War, which is bringing in $50,000. The problem is their goal is $150,000, which is very reasonable, but they've only managed to attract 327 backers. And this is interesting. This one had a decent following at some point. I don't know if that following clearly hasn't converted. I think part of it is because I'm going to project here my own viewpoint of the game on it. My own personal viewpoint of the game is it looks interesting, but I'm not seeing a pitch as to why back this game compared to any other game. That pitch, and in fact, that might be true for a bunch of these. It might be true, well, Velocity Vanguard, I think, has a pitch as to why back this one. It's very, very incredibly unique. Game of the Year has a unique theme. That might help, but it's a unique theme, accessible gameplay. I think this one should have a unique pitch. Battle Peak might not have enough of a pitch to see why is this one standing out, why put your money here, and I think Millennium War, especially with this higher price tag, has that lack of clarity. It has that lack of clarity of not why does this look cool. The game looks cool, but looking cool is a different conversation than backing the game. What is it about the gameplay that stands out? What is it about the characters, the abilities, the unique aspects of this game that stand out? The game looks very cool. It looks very ambitious. I don't know how it plays. I don't know, in past basically browsing the campaign page, that is. I don't think this is going to be fun. Where we are right now, we have a bunch of testimonials over here, so you can go ahead and look through those. I haven't really read those, so let's go ahead and read some. Legion of Games. The game has great potential and the existing framework is exciting. Okay, so Legion of Games has a review. I recommend watching that. We have on-table board games. Epic figurines, beautifully. This is more about the presence. I always avoid those of a game, how a game looks. We have Meeple University, functional basis, multiple paths to victory. So multiple paths to victory, I like that. Roll for Crit. Millennium War is a tense experience for MOBA fans, and that's all about options. From your chosen set of heroes to the numerous weapons and abilities at your disposal to the different win conditions, there's always more than a few ways to tackle any given turn. So I like that testimonial. That's solid. That gives me a reason to pay attention to the game. But overall, I think the price point of it, $110 minimum pledge level, I'm not surprised this isn't like, $700,000. I am surprised this isn't funding. I am surprised this hasn't converted more people, but overall, that's enough time spent talking about Millennium War and why it isn't funding. Time to move on to the update category. So we have 3 updates this week, and one of them is really an update on a finished Kickstarter, but it was a short enough Kickstarter that we're going to talk about anyway. Number 1 is going to be a simple correction or clarification, not so much correction. It's going to be Force of Pangaia. Force of Pangaia, I mentioned last week when I covered it, that overall, while I was intrigued by the game, I was pulled in by it, I mentioned I don't know if it's Kickstarter exclusive or not. They had a specific sentence on the bottom of the page where they said this version of the game is, they first said the game is Kickstarter exclusive, and then they said, oh, and this version of the game is Kickstarter exclusive, so which leads you to believe that the other versions are not. And I was a little conflicted on what that actually means. Turns out they have clarified both of them are Kickstarter exclusive, so we'll see how that one goes. I got a little ping, speaking of which, from Legion of Games, so I'm gonna go ahead and have to message him. But anyways, I just sent him Wild Ascent Lavon Rising, so we'll see how that goes. And I just got a ping, so Liege, if you're watching this, hi, I just got your message. I'll reply to it after the video. But anyways, so Force of Pangaia is going to be Kickstarter exclusive. In case you're wondering, they have confirmed that. So that's a clarification. Scarface 1920 is not really a clarification of any kind. More so, just so you know, I did finally get my review of the game. So this past week, we had a gameplay up on the channel. It was messy. I apologize. Lots going on in this game, and with a very short timeline as far as when we got to the table. So mea culpa, it's on us. We're always going to try to improve our content as much as possible. The focus always will be on fun over, teaching the game. That said, we can certainly do things to improve that experience. So if you watch the gameplay, understand that. But more than that, there is a review somewhere. Where's the review? I had a review somewhere on the page over here. If you want to scroll down slowly, somewhere. Here we go. So over here we have the review for Scarface 1920. I like when I scroll slowly. It's like a little breather. But anyway, Scarface 1920, I have a review of the video with Jesse and Shira on the channel if you want to watch that. Short version is nothing different than I said last week. This game is expensive. This is a big ask for you to spend your money on this game versus waiting for retail. For myself, I am back in the game because, frankly speaking, I want those exclusive job cards. My favorite parts of the game are going to be the cool ways that you can do things with the job cards, plus the news cards are cool as well, and so I want those things that add variety to my game. Am I paying a fairly hefty price tag for a handful of extra cards? Yeah, but I also get unique sculpts, and I also get the sculpts for the bases we have, whatever it is, and we have the ring, and so we have the expansion free. There's all kinds of small justifications I can give. The big thing is, at the end of the day, I want the Kickstarter exclusive content to this game. I'm willing to pay for it. I completely understand anyone who's not willing to pay for it, because they haven't played this game. It is a good game. I hope that Red Zen Games adds more Kickstarter exclusive content to the game. I hope they give more people a reason to back the game. And I don't think it would take much. I don't think it would take a lot to push a lot of people to the edge. People want this game. They're just pushed off by the price tag of the game. It is a good game. I think this will be a solid game that people will really enjoy. It'll be on the messy side. Actually, I don't know for sure because prototype versus finished, but I don't have a problem with messy. I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoy what Scarface 1920 is doing. There's already 4,847 people who are interested in the game, and those 4,847 people, a decent portion of them will be happy with their back. The game's not going to be for everyone, which is why I'm not saying everyone. But yeah, I hope Red Zen gives more people a reason to back, just from a sense of I want more people to be able to experience this, rather than waiting for retail and seeing how that plays out. I will say they have commented on the MSRP that it'll be not, I can't remember the number they said. They said it'll be not be less than something. I can't remember what it was, which implied that my estimate of what the MSRP would be a little low. I think I estimated an MSRP of like $99 for it. I think they said it would be €99, I think. So that could be, I'm curious how that plays out, but it just seems like €99 seems like such a high MSRP for this game. That said, the state of the world right now and the freight crisis and all that and the increased costs could mean that we're seeing higher MSRPs, so I don't know. But I just want to factor in, they did give a statement about it. I don't remember the exact number they gave. And then lastly, we're going to have updates about 6 Siege. We're like 20 minutes into the video. We haven't gotten to the new Kickstarters yet, but we have covered a lot of fun stuff anyway, right? So let me just take a drink here. Not coffee. I already had my coffee for the morning. I'll be having my afternoon coffee shortly. Right now, that's just seltzer. Not a good idea to have that on camera, by the way, because seltzer just, makes you want to burp more, which I already have enough of a problem with. 6 Siege, the board game. I don't know what I do on these videos. 6 Siege, the board game on Mythic Games. This one ended, but I imagine there'll be a late pledge. There always is for this stuff. But effectively, I just wanted to go through a quick summary of all the stuff they added to the game, going through all the exclusives, which I will say, Mythic themselves have done an absolutely terrible job labeling what's exclusive and what's not. From day one, they did a terrible job. They have the daily unlocks here. They have the various voting for various characters you can unlock. And then from day one, they just missed out on the tags for what's exclusive and what's not. And even as you scroll down to newer stuff, half these things are missing the tag. Yet if you go to the specific updates, they show the tag. So I believe everything here, like this for instance, this definitely has a tag on it in the update saying it's Kickstarter exclusive. But then they kind of have like a bunch of tags up top, and then they kind of drop the tag below, leading people to wonder what's exclusive, what's not. I think it's all exclusive. I could be wrong. I didn't check every single one. I spot checked various ones, and they mostly have the tag. So just factor that in. I believe most things here are exclusive. I'm not saying they all are. But Mythic Games has got to Mythic, you got to be on top of your game and show people what's exclusive. It gives people a reason to back. That's part of the calculus of what people do when they say, hey, this game looks expensive. Should I get it retail versus now? And so just a quick summary of what is exclusive, or what we have here as extras. We have all these things that go on walls. They're giving you a miniature and a clear plastic acrylic standee rather than the cardboard tokens. Those are going to be all nice upgrades there. We're going to have the 6 various operators with their skins that various people voted for the various skins. Some of my favorite ones did win. Some of my favorite ones did not win, such as Life. We're going to have and it's always interesting because they created the renders for every single one of these things, right? And some of these renders won't be used, which is always fascinating to me. It's a good investment in really investing the audience of when the audience believes they won't see that actual skin, and they're more invested, as opposed to when you show them like a vote and really you're going to get both, it's less invested. But that does mean we have like 6 renders that may never see the light of day, or maybe they'll show up at some other time. I hope they show up some other time. Either way, we're going to have dual layer boards. That's always a nice thing over there. That's going to be great. We're going to have the skins. We're going to have another skin over there. We're going to have the acrylic standees instead of the acrylic standees for flames and smoke and all that stuff, instead of the cardboard overlays. So more acrylic standees for various characters. Another alternate operator. We're going to have the recruits player mode, which gives you more recruits and some basically ways to develop and upgrade your characters as you go through the game. We have a drone token and a round tracker module that are like increased cooler pieces. I particularly like the drone. Round tracker I'll take, but I'm fine with a flat piece for the round tracker. It's when you're playing the game that I want all the cooler stuff. Although I prefer no, that's cool. It works. I'd rather the drone be a little bigger, but it's appropriately sized. We have more of these plastic thingies for the overlays. We have my favorite one to date. Absolutely favorite. We have Leo as a hostage, okay? That's great. I love the idea of Leo being a hostage in a board game. Leo is always hilarious. If you watch their videos they have when they constantly are putting Leo's face on top of whatever, the photoshopping his face on top of every single character, it's hilarious to watch. But Leo as a hostage in my board game, that's adorable. I'll rescue you, Leo. I got your back. We have more of these, plastic standees with miniatures, some more standees. We have 3D bomb tokens. These are exclusive. These are Kickstarter exclusive for sure. I checked this one, and these ones are much, much better, both gameplay-wise. And they look better, and they are better to quickly see them at a glance sense to see these larger tokens on the board. I'm very happy to see the 3 bomb tokens. It's a much better improvement over the tiny little token you would otherwise have. Same with the hostage, by the way. I'm happy to have the hostage token as well. Those are both general solid improvements to increase your playability or immersion in the game. We have some more of those stands. We have some more alternate standees, some operators, some votes, all these things you see over here, and then finally some furniture over here, some additional furniture. My favorite things are going to be amongst all the acrylic standees that buff people up, the various bombs and hostages, and then of course the alternate minis, which I believe come with alternate skills and or abilities and or stats. I don't know exactly what they have, but I believe they are different. They're not purely alternates. That's going to be all the content you get for a Kickstarter exclusive. It's not as much as you might get in Hell Darkest Dungeon or any of their other games, but I think it is a decent amount. This is a game that you definitely, I stand by what I said before, you definitely do not need to go all in on this game. The amount of content you will get if you only ever get the base box, unless you are playing this game a ton, you will not go through all that content. This game is basically choose 5 operators for each side and then go on this skirmish game. It's a ton of content. You don't need it all. Like Rum and Bones before it, I have way more than I ever need because I will just have tons of choice and options, and I sometimes make bad decisions around, bad is a relative term. I do have a video at some point, I've been saying this for months now, I have a video at some point going up about why I go all in on games, even though it's illogical. Yes, it's going to be a whole lot of rationalizing myself as way, but that's fine. I enjoy that. But yeah, either way, I'm going all in on it, but you do not need to go all in on this game. You absolutely do not. The base pledge will give you more than enough. I wish there were... I wonder, like, these are included in the base pledge. I would say go for the base pledge. I think the extras you get are going to be enough, and I really think these are great. Well, the truth is, if you really want, get the base game at retail and then 3D print something like this, or if you have a 3D printer. So there are options, but I like some of the upgrades over here that make the game better and quicker to, like, see stuff, but past that, you don't need all the characters. They're fun, they're cool, I like them, but you don't need them all. And finally, 25 minutes in, we're going to go ahead and start with the new expansions, the new campaigns that we have not talked about, and it's a small week actually. We only have like 6 or 7 of these, so lots of updates and other things and Kickstarter adjacent, but only like 6 or 7 new campaigns. We have Peak Oil Profiteer, which is going to be, I missed this the past few days, which is why there's only going to be, by the time you watch, there's going to be like a day left on the campaign. You can go and check this one out. This is going to be coming to you from Two Tomatoes Games. They have a whole bunch of games under their belt. This is actually a standalone, not expansion. They have a game called Peak Oil. This is going to be Peak Oil Profiteer. This is like a larger player count, 1 to 5 players, sorry. 1 to 5 player game where you're going to be playing cards simultaneously, hence the simultaneous player count. One of the things that interested me the most, it's all about, like, going into a war-torn country and trying to fight over the oil and profit. That's the whole name, Peak Oil Profiteer. My favorite aspect of the game, if you watch the video, is going to be the aspects of the tableau building. You have all these cards that can build up your stats, build up your abilities. As far as price point of this one, falls in the category. You're going to be looking at roughly, what is it, $36 for the game plus shipping. This is likely not going to hold its value in the secondhand market. That said, their games generally have not had a high retail presence, so it falls in the category of if you want this game and don't want to deal with the secondhand market, then the Kickstarter is the way to go. But I do not think it'll hold its value in the secondhand market. If you look at most of their other titles, they have not either. So it's not a safe back in that sense, but if you're looking at it from what are your options to get the game, retail availability on their games has been on the lower end, so factor that in accordingly when you back or pass, whichever way you go. Next up, we have Wild Ascent Lavon Rising. While Lavon Rising is giving us, well, I mean, I covered this already in a full Should You Back It. Things have changed or added since then. A whole bunch of things have been changed or added. We're currently at $819,000 raised. You know what? I'm going to save this for last. I'm going to literally drag this to the end and talk. I usually talk about things with how many days are left, but I just want to talk about that last because that's going to be the longest part. So, yay. Timestamps down below in case you want to go into that. We have Hollywood Races, the reboot. So, this is basically going to be a complicated story. This is the relaunched Kickstarter of a canceled Kickstarter of a failed Kickstarter from a different company. Hollywood Races was from a different company that completely failed. They said they're giving refunds. I don't know the status on those refunds. I think people are still waiting on them, so I'm not optimistic there. The company basically folded. We had a different company that picked up Hollywood Racers. They launched the Kickstarter. It's since failed. They canceled it or whatever it is. They relaunched it now. And now we have over here, successfully funded, 400 backers. They do have a stretch goal where they're going to be giving older backers who didn't get their game like freebies. It doesn't seem like they're currently going to hit that. I could be wrong. I don't think they're going to hit it as of right now. So we'll see how that goes. But basically, you have a few options over here. For €20, you're getting the Races from the Lost Arena expansion. This is going to be, well, the extra content based on the This pledge level is perfect for primo backers, which are going to be the original backers, who only want the game material without the metal miniature. So it's giving you extras over there. We have the €35 or $42, which is giving you the base game, and then we have for $47, another $5 basically, you're getting the metal miniatures, which are the Kickstarter exclusive. So if you do want this game, this pledge level, the director's cut, is likely the way to go, because the Hollywood Races base game would likely be cheaper in retail, with the caveat that with only 400 backers, retail presence on this game is not guaranteed at all. So I would say I would still go for the metal miniatures. If you're paying $5 extra, you may as well get the thing that's for sure exclusive, especially if you like it. But ultimately, this is going to be a racing game. It's going to be a fun little quick racing game. Art style, looks okay. I don't think this one's pulling a lot of people in. I think the combination of price point, art style, I don't know if it's doing enough to really stand out in a crowded arena. Going back to the conversation we've had a few times today of what's the reason to back a game. I don't know if they're giving a full clear, here's why you should back this game. Past, hey, it looks fun. You're going to race, different pathways you can take, and different fun stuff that can happen along the way. Overall, this one falls in the category of, well, peak Oil Profiteer before it. I do not think this is going to hold its value, not based on what I'm seeing. The cool miniatures are nice. The metal sculpts are great. I still don't think it's going to hold its value overall, but it might be the best way to get it, especially because I don't know if it'll see retail at all. 400 backers does not give a huge reason for this to go to retail, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Next up, we have Escape from the Asylum, 1 to 6 player cooperative game from Imperial Publishing, the company who brings you Sleeve Kings. So, first of all, I love Sleeve Kings. I talk about them all the time. I tell you should get their games, their sleeves all the time. I pitch those sleeves left, right, and center. Escape from the Asylum, I think, is an interesting looking game. There's 2 parts of the game, and it's a 10-episode escape room series. So Tom Vassell has a review on it. There's also a lot of ratings on Board Game Geek. The ratings on Board Game Geek, Tom Vassell's review is very positive. The ratings on Board Game Geek are much more mixed. It's like a 6.4 or something like that, maybe a 6.7 at whatever it was. It's below a 7 on Board Game Geek, and they take Dogecoin, by the way. In case you want Dogecoin, they take Dogecoin as well. Past that, there's going to be 2 basic pledge levels. It's going to be $45 for the base game, and then $54 for the deluxe game. Now, here's an interesting one. I always tell you to get the deluxe edition of the game, right? But 74 backers, or almost always, 74 backers on the base, and 757 on the deluxe. That's going to be 757 people who are choosing to pay $9 more. I don't know if they know what they're paying $9 more for. The deluxe version of the game is giving you, this, like I said already, it's an escape room. You can check out the rest of it. There's a full spoiler stuff. You can watch all the Meeples of the Rainbow, Steph Hodge. You can watch her play it, but it'll give you some spoilers. They guide you through that if you want to avoid that. But over here, you're basically looking at like UV spot coating and some foil treatment. That's what 757 people are paying $9 extra for, and I'm just curious if they know that. I ask because I am someone who almost always avoids the base pledge and goes straight to the deluxe pledge, because that's the one that's going to be more likely to hold its value and more of a reason to back on Kickstarter as opposed to waiting for retail. That said, I mean, maybe it's just my own bias as to what I pay for and don't pay for. I like miniatures, I like the extra content, I like deluxe fight stuff. I personally don't care about UV spot coating or foil boxes, and so I'm basically projecting my own. Really, are there 757 people who are willing to pay $9 more to get their nicer box on the game? And the answer might be yes, but I'm curious how many people, if you are someone who's backing this game and didn't realize that the deluxe edition of the game is only these box extras, although granted, if they get to 100k, which doesn't seem likely, then all the cards will get foil treatment as well. But if you're someone who's one of these 757 people and you didn't realize what you're actually getting for your extra $9, do me a favor and comment down below, because I'm curious what the sample size of people who know versus don't know what they're paying for is on this game. Past that, this then leads to the question of should you back or should you not. At $45 for the game, you're getting a discount. I have to find it on the page somewhere. I believe they said it's like a $55 MSRP, so you're getting a $10 discount. That discount is going to be wiped out by the fact that you're paying for shipping. Plus, of course, a $55 MSRP is not going to be the cheapest option. It's not going to be the actual price of the game when you're buying it online anyway. So I would say, as of right now, unless you specifically want that spot coating and foil treatment and all that on your game, then get the deluxe edition. I don't think it'll hold its value, but then you might want to get it rather than dealing with the secondhand market, especially on an escape room game. But for most people, I think this is a game that's worth checking out, but I don't see a reason to get it on the Kickstarter. I would say get this one at retail. The price point is going to be cheaper, and you're not losing out on any content, and Imperial Publishing likely will bring this one to retail. There's enough backers on the game to begin with, and they already have retail connections all set up, so I imagine this will go to retail. I like their company. Again, I tell you to buy Sleeve Kings left, right, and center. I'm just not currently seeing a reason to get Escape from the Asylum unless you specifically want that spot treatment and all of that. Moving on, we have Villagers Shifting Seasons. Villagers Shifting Seasons is going to be bringing you, as you might imagine, the expansion to Villagers. It's bringing you Shifting Seasons, which is the new content for the game, and it's a lot of new content. This is going to be from Sinister Fish, who brought you Villagers, and Streets, and now more Villagers. I think that's correct. I think have we had 2 Villagers campaigns? let me see. So let's go ahead and take a look. We have Sinister Fish, if I can scroll up properly and find this here. We have 4 created. I think it's going to be 3 villagers and then 1 streets. Let's take a look. So we have over here, we have streets, villagers, and we have Great Scott. Apparently there's only 1 villagers campaign, so I was wrong with that. I think it's just that you could have bought, you were able to buy more villagers content in streets. That's why I'm confused. Either way, that's neither here nor there. The point is, villagers are going to be kind of tableau building game. It's got a little bit of tableau aspect to it. I think it has, no, it definitely has tableau aspects to it. It's going to be a game where you're drafting villagers into your deck to try to ultimately score points. The ways you score points are going to be left, right, and center, doing any number of different things. There's a ton of pathways to victory in this game. Ultimately, you're going to constantly be creating chains of villagers. You're going to have different default villager types that then branch out into different production chains and can host other villagers below. So, I can't remember the name of the Hayer can host different people in that purple class, and then you're building these production chains, which will get you to the highest level, that you'll get like these cool cards that will give you tons of points. Now, there's going to be 2 scoring rounds in the game. There's going to be a scoring round in round 2, as well as in round 6 in the game, and that's going to be basically when you score, so you're trying to constantly play the game, managing the early and the late game scoring in the game, as well as there's going to be different production chains that unlock. So there's this aspect that certain cards can only be played once somebody unlocks that card, but then you have to pay them for using their card, or maybe they're paying you for using your card. So you're building up more coins, which is points on the cards as you grow. There's gonna be lots of like unique special cards that give you fun abilities. It's a simple, fun tableau builder that is enjoyable in terms of what it's doing, as well as giving you a ton of options. I've only played this game once. I'm still undecided on it personally. I enjoy it, but I'm not like completely sold on it, but I enjoyed it enough that I kind of want to keep playing it. And more specifically, I would say that Villager Shifting Seasons has a whole bunch more stuff that make me even more interested in the game. So let's talk about it. You can see these production chains developing over here. Let's go ahead and talk about what Shifting Seasons. So you have board games in a minute. We have Watch a Play. You can go check those out. We have Shifting Seasons over here, bringing you a brand new expansion to the game. What do you get for the game? So to begin with, we have, and will it fit in the box? In case you're wondering, the short answer is if you sleeve everything, it will fit in the box, but you'll have to keep your coin box separate. There's a coin box upgrade where you have extra coins. You could have previously fit into your villager's box. You won't be able to do so if you want all the content there. So over here, we're going to have these stretch goals. Ignore that for a second. We have more alternate art stuff, different things like that. 5,000 backers. We have new developments. That's going to be fun for the development, actually. That's going to be cool. We're going to have, what do we have? We have events. So first of all, remember how I said there's going to be 6 rounds to the game? 6 sort of rounds. It's a little abstracted the way it's handled. And 2 of those have scoring. So we're going to have a variety. We're going to have 12 different events, of which you pick 4, and they get assigned to the other 4 stacks. So at the end of every round, something will happen, giving you more modularity and more things to be mindful of in the game, which I generally like. You're going to have team play, which I don't really care that much. Sorry, not teams. Sorry, not team play. You have team cards that you can get, which is fine, more cards. You have special villagers that are so powerful they only have 1 copy of each. So there's going to be more reasons to pick those special cards, which I can see going either way. You don't want it to like affect the balance of the game where people are always drawing special cards. One facet of the game I didn't touch upon is the fact that you're often drawing cards where you can see the back. So I know it's a special card. I don't know which special card. I know it's a Hayer card. I don't know which Hayer card. So if these cards are too powerful, I can see it always incentivizing the draw of the special, which could be a bad thing. That said, I like powerful cards, so I'm mixed on this one. We have the clay suit, which is great because it's going to add a full new suit to the game, but more importantly, allowing for fresh opportunities and longer games. One of my biggest critiques of Villagers was I felt that the game ended before I can get enough stuff done. I enjoyed it, but I kind of wanted to do more, and I wanted to build my engine more, so the idea of adding another resource and a longer game engine, that works for me. There's going to be a monastery solo mode as well, and then the rulebook, which you'd expect. Then we have the pledge levels for the game. Pledge levels are going to be giving you all the individual breakdowns of what you can get, and then you can go ahead and bundle to the most common bundles, which are going to be Shifting Seasons, the gameplay all-in, and the everything all-in. Now, the everything all-in is expensive. Do not let it intimidate you out of paying attention to this game, because you'll see in a second. So $18 plus shipping is going to give you the Shifting Seasons expansion. The gameplay bundle is going to be $55 plus shipping, $55, and then everything ever is $126. You're paying an extra $71 to get the extras for the game. Understand that before you back this. So $71. Again, $55 gets you all the gameplay. Anyone who scrolled through this campaign saw $126 and walked away because they're like, hey, the game looks cool, but it doesn't look $126 cool. That's cool. $55 gets you all the gameplay. The $126 is going to be getting you the following. Let's go through the add-ons. So the gameplay all-in is going to be giving you the original game. It's going to be giving you the Kickstarter expansion from the original Kickstarter, which gives you like monuments, villagers, more cards. I don't know if they're monuments, these whatever they're called, something else. They're called developments. You have developments, more cards, all that. You're going to be getting the playmat. Okay, that's going to be part of the extra. This is not the This is going to be part of the everything all-in, a playmat, in case you want that. I don't think you need this. It's nice, but you definitely don't need it. Plus, you have to store it. You have the coin chest, $21, giving you a whole bunch of, it's going to be giving you 150 wooden coins. So it's a great price point on coins if you compare it to metal coins. Depends if you like them. Speaking for myself, they match the aesthetic of the game. I don't particularly like them enough to use them in other games, so I probably just wouldn't bother with them. They're nice, but again, if you're trying to be mindful, choose yourself how you want them. Although it is a separate chest, again, up to you. There's all kinds of options out there. There's whatever you got in the game. There's iron clays. There's metal coins. There's wooden coins. A whole bunch of options out there. We live in a privileged time gaming-wise. $28 for custom card sleeves. This goes back to my pitch on Sleeve Kings. I generally recommend Sleeve Kings. Their sleeves are going to be, I mean, this is going to be a pack of 308 card sleeves for $28. That is a hard sell, in my opinion. Now, it looks like they're going to have clear and printed sleeves, but if you just had fully clear sleeves, that would do the job just fine, right? So if you want them, go ahead and get them. It just seems like $28 for 300 card sleeves. That's going to cost you like $6-7 from Sleeve Kings. There's a reason I pitch Sleeve Kings. The quality, I don't get paid by them. I just like their sleeves. I have a giant cupboard full of their sleeves. The quality and price compromise on Sleeve Kings is second to none in my opinion. There are better sleeves, and there are cheaper sleeves. The quality price combo is excellent. We have promo cards. It's going to be in the gameplay all in. So if you want Garcia, Healy, and Vassal, no idea who those people are, plus the Plower and Scribe, then you're going to have, that's going to be options over there for, it's going to be part of the gameplay and the everything all in, and anything else, that's basically it. So you can see those over here on the bundles over here. What you're going to see, you have the villagers, shifting seasons, the expansion pack, promo cards, and the shifting season stretch goal pack. That's going to be everything you get here. Should you back it, should you not? Short version, look, Quacklup, a wild Quacklup appears. I cannot recommend this game enough. Yeah, so lots of content around this game. This game is well liked. There's going to be upsides and downsides on this one as far as should you back it, should you not. The first thing I'll say is base game alone. If you're looking for just the base game or the experience, Villagers in general has had a lower retail presence. So to begin with, if you're interested in this game, I would say Kickstarter is the best option unless you're willing to engage in the secondhand used market. If you are willing to engage in the secondhand used market, you can find the base game of Villagers often for like $20, plus shipping, of course, factor that in, so you can get a pretty good entry point to the game. Now, once you factor in if you want the extras, if you're trying to track down the promo pack, you're trying to track down the Kickstarter exclusive pack, there are still options to buy that more affordably than you can in this Kickstarter, but now you start getting spotty. Will you happen to pick one up? Like if you check the Geek Market right now, there's like one copy for $80. If you check the actual history of games sold, there's plenty of games with all the content until to date that is, for closer to the $50 price range, or even less, much less than cheaper than $50. You can get a Kickstarter version, expansion pack, whatever it is, for $30 plus shipping, and there's shipping on this campaign too. So I would say generally, if you're not in a rush for necessarily everything, the secondhand market is going to be your cheapest entry point to this game. Retail availability is going to be on the low end. That said, if you kind of want everything, including shifting seasons, well, you're gonna have to wait a long time before it even hits the used market, and you may be dealing with different buyers or whatnot. I'm skeptical this holds its value. If you buy this one, between shipping and the cost of the game, I think you're gonna lose $10-15 if you're trying to sell it down the road on the secondhand market yourself. That said, for someone who's looking for the game, your options, in my opinion, are the Kickstarter. Your best options are the Kickstarter and or waiting for the secondhand market. The longer you wait, the more likely you can save the $5-10. So it's not a good deal on the Kickstarter, but nor is it a particularly bad deal. I would say if you're interested in the game, you kind of may as well get on the Kickstarter. If you're interested in just the shifting seasons expansion, like if you already have base villagers, then I think Kickstarter is the way to go, because waiting to get that down the road on the secondhand market for somebody who's just selling the expansion, it doesn't seem worth it. And of course, this will come with the stretch goal pack and all of that. So again, not a good deal, but possibly the best opportunity for you to jump in on all of the villager stuff. And it's a fun game. So that's going to be all of that. Which brings us, lastly, I'm going to take a break now, to Wild Ascent, Lavon Rising, a game that I already did a full Should You Back It on, but I'll talk about all the new stuff and drama and all those things. It's not that much drama. It's a little bit of drama. So, let's go ahead and go through this one. So, Wild Ascent, Lavon Rising. This is going to be the expansion, the not standalone game, the fully, obviously, totally, everyone should have known this, including myself, expansion to Wild Ascent. Lavon Rising is going to be an expansion. If I didn't make that clear, I'm making that as clear as possible, because in my review of it, I didn't realize it was not standalone, and I was like, hey, if you want one of these games, just get Lavon Rising. I think it's a better game. It is a better game, but it also needs the base game, so I apologize. I apologize for that. That's my bad. I need to be mindful. It's one of those things that it's an easy, simple mistake to make. But when you have an audience, when you have people who are listening, easy, simple mistakes are something you need to be mindful of. It's something that I'm always conscious of, always trying to do better on, but it's something that will still happen. It's not an excuse. It will still happen. I apologize for it, and I will always try to be as mindful as possible. And like next time I remember, check if it needs expansion or all that. Like Chronicles of Junagard, for instance, I'm looking into a little bit more what it does and doesn't need from the base game because of this mistake here. Either way, moving on, $819,000, 4 days to left. It's going to cross $1 million. I don't think it'll, I'm pretty sure it'll cross $1 million. I don't think it'll hit the 1.5 that initially thought it will, which is, I mean, it makes sense. It's an expensive ask for people. But Wild Ascent Lavon Rising is going to be basically the expansion to Wild Ascent. Wild Ascent in general is going to be basically a game that has a competitive mode, has cooperative modes. I have not played the competitive mode. I need to do so. The cooperative mode is basically mostly a hunt. It's hunting down creatures to kill them and or capture them. And depending on what campaign you're playing, may have different options along the way as well as far as how you engage with the game. There's going to be a whole bunch of different things. One of the new things they've added is, so they have a whole bunch of rewards. They had a early bird 72-hour reward, which is gone now. So if you haven't backed the game, too late. If you back the game at $1, you're good. You're locked in for that. They had the early sign-up notice. If you followed the campaign before the game launched, then you got another reward there. We're going to have this one, the Wilds with Elk, which is if you back at a full pledge option before the campaign ends, you'll get this. So this is effectively an incentive not to wait around for the pledge managers to upgrade, which basically makes sense. They're like, hey, we'd like you to up your pledge now so you don't sit around for the next 4.5 months and have second thoughts. So they're giving you a reason to do so, which I am always for, because otherwise the advice I would give is always just back at $1 and upgrade your pledge later. Why would you do that now? Is give yourself as much time as possible to reconsider. Unless, of course, the campaign says, hey, it'll cost $5 more. Here's a free mini. So they're doing that whole free mini approach. Good on them. I mean, it's marketing. It's marketing. People don't like marketing. People don't like being pushed into a pathway. Then again, if you didn't like being pushed into a pathway, Kickstarter is the wrong place to begin with. Just wait for retail. The whole point of Kickstarter is to give you that FOMO. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's just, why would you otherwise back a game that isn't yet available? It has to be part of the equation, or I'd be just sitting here telling you don't back all the games. That's going to be Lavon Rising so far. That's going to be some of the new stuff over there. They've also recently announced an expansion. So there's going to be, that's one of the new things, is going to be an expansion. They announced it somewhere. Where is it? It's going to be down through the add-on sections. We have a whole bunch of stretch goals and things, all fun stuff there. So we have the Dalketter War Rider, which can be bought if in case you missed. That's going to be the sign-up bonus. You could be buying it separately. We have the Mist Terror, which again can be purchased separately if you missed the original, what's it called? And then we have the Waterways of the Wild expansion, which is giving you a whole bunch of content for the game. And that's going to be giving you $49 for a bunch of extra 27 miniatures, a new board. I'm curious. I haven't looked into this one yet. This was just announced. Look at these. I mean, these are gorgeous. Some of these are going to be, this is not a render. This is going to be art over here. So I'm paying attention to that. We have some these cool miniatures over here. I like the idea of the water themed expansion. I'm curious how it works, because here's my concern. I haven't read this yet. I am really concerned about the idea that my people are just wading out into the water. That is such a thematic break, the idea that I could just walk through water, that this map would really bother me if all it is a bunch of water creatures and me walking onto water with no, like, give me some sort of raft or some reason why I'm on the water, because that's, and again, you could be waiting around in the early shores, but it's just that's my own personal bias here. Past that, there's plenty of other maps, and I like the art on most of the new maps, more so than the original game. One of my complaints about the original game was that the art was good, the art on the board, the art for the cards and everything else was great. The art on the board was good, not great. Wild Ascent's giving you a ton of options over here. You can get the base pledge alone, so Wild Ascent core pledge. Let's see if we have. So we have the base pledge alone somewhere. Where is it? Over here. So the core pledge is giving you for $119. This is a lot of content in this pledge. It's expensive. It's not, $120 is not cheap, but I can tell you that when I gave this game a 5 out of 5, when I rated this game, played this game, and enjoyed this game, it was only with content from the base pledge. I hadn't touched anything from the Shadows of the Silverstream expansion. So understand that I love this game base pledge alone, in case you're being cost conscious. If you want to add the Shadows of the Silverstream expansion, that's going to be the $239 pledge. That's giving you more content, which is great. Honestly, it's good stuff, great stuff, but I wouldn't recommend this pledge instinctively. I would say if you're satisfied with jumping into the game, get the $119 pledge, and if you're someone who wants Lavon Rising and all the content, then get all the content. Going for this pledge specifically seems like a weird halfway point to me that doesn't seem worth it. My own personal bias. Maybe you specifically want certain miniatures, I don't know, but I'd honestly recommend just going with either the core pledge or the all-in. The all-in is going to have different options depending on whether you are a returning backer or not. So for example, over here, we have different pledges, and I'm signed in incognito mode, so you may not be able to see everything properly, depending on if you are returning back with an email. But they had a lot of drama. One of the new things they've added since I did my Should You Back It video is they had a lot of drama around the idea that, reasonable drama, around the idea that people who bought the game secondhand were like, well, you're giving the discounted pledge to the original backer, which is great for him because he sold me his copy, and now I'm kind of stuck. Which, I understand the frustration. I also understand Lazy Squire Games. They can't give out 2 discounts for the same copy of the game that was purchased, but that leaves somebody up creek without a paddle, excuse my French. I didn't actually say anything, so you don't have to excuse my French, but I implied it, so you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so what they did over there is they gave you basically new pledges, which are not the same level of discount, but they effectively said, hey, if you're someone who has the original pledge and you just want the new stuff, here's an option for you that is not as good as you might otherwise have liked, but at least it's something. So it gives you the option without forcing you into a full upgrade, so that's good there, so people can go ahead and get that, because you're basically talking about the main difference you're looking at is going to be a difference in the sizing of the miniatures, which having had the miniatures in front of me, and having literally played with both, I've played my game with the new stuff as well as the old stuff. It's like annoying if you're paying attention, but when you're actually in the game, you're not paying attention. So it's not really a big deal in my opinion. You might want to paint them or spray paint them or prime them or something with them so they look the same color-wise, but the size difference didn't really bother me that much unless you're paying attention. So that's going to be all those new things there. Past that, we have a whole bunch of stretch goals. Let's go ahead and scroll wards. Let's go ahead and scroll through all the stretch goals. We have Wart, which is a crossover from Load, going to be from Arkan. And they do lots of crossover, which is great. It's a solid way of doing that. We have Daniel Stoica from Vampire of the Hunter, Vampire Order of the Vampire Hunters crossover. We have more new workers, which is great. I always like the new items, the new workers. We have the Godfell Unicorn, which is just another unicorn. They really like giving out unicorns as extras. We have more equipment cards. Like I said, I like equipments. We have Ralthek, who's going to be from anything? Nothing. Not from anything. This is going to be just from Lazy Squire Games. We have a new path, which is going to be more pathways or opportunities for your characters to grow in different customized development options. We have Boneback Boars, new workers, 3 Crevice Creepers, which again is more miniatures. We have game trays, which I was very excited to see. One of my complaints was the original inserts are garbage. Like, they're not totally garbage. I threw out most of them. I kept one of them, but they have like these annoying little like holes between different sections that pieces slide back and forth. The original inserts, plastic baggies are better. Not to say anything bad against plastic baggies. I think plastic baggies are delightful. We're going to have Vanessa Von Brandt from Storm Thunder crossover, so they're promoting Storm Thunder, another giant epic game by a young startup company called Lazy Squire Games. It's the same company in case it wasn't obvious. We're going to have the Scary Primitive, which is going to be more stuff from the world of Storm Thunder and Lazy Squire. We have more new paths. We have the Labyrinth Source, basically from the creature from Aeon's Trespass Odyssey. So I've actually fought this guy, which is fun because this is I think I've only fought one monster. Did I fight both? I don't remember. I think I've only fought the miniature, this guy over here from Aeon's Trespass Odyssey when I had the prototype, but it's cool seeing him over here. I am looking forward to engaging with him in Wild Ascent. We're going to have Atlos, which is from nothing. She's just a bard, you know. Toss a coin to your witcher. More equipment cards. We're going to have more stuff. Karja. We have a Primal crossover. I was very excited to see this one. I love Primal, as you know, and as maybe you know, maybe you don't know. I love Primal. I'm looking forward to Primal, and I was very excited to see a Primal crossover here. And then we have Beer Vanguard from Archvillain Games. This is going to be not a game crossover, but a miniature line crossover. This, honestly, I saw this and I was like, didn't you do an Oathsworn crossover? Although they did do an Oathsworn crossover, but they did it in Storm Thunder, not over here. And then we have Damon Spire Headhunter. This is going to be a basic character, no crossover there. Anything else? We have the next Daily Unlock. Likely going to be another crossover. What game comes next? I have no idea. We have, oh, this one. This one's going to be, no, this one's coming from Chronicles of Zungar. It's going to be, they announced this one. Then we have a Lake Thrasher as well. So yeah, that last one over there, this is going to be a crossover from Chronicles of Zungar, the dwarf character, which I played. They're doing a solid job crossing games over, basically bringing in people from those games and also promoting those games. Again, they do a good job at the marketing stuff, and their game delivers. You're signing up for a long wait. That's absolutely true, but they deliver. Their games look gorgeous. They play well. Lavon Rising is this whole 5+ out of 5 that I gave over here. I give it a 5+ out of 5, just first of all tongue-in-cheek, but I gave Wild Ascent a 5. I really enjoyed Wild Ascent. And Lavon Rising to me is literally just improvements upon that system. It's literally just the same game, but better. Addressing some of the critiques, but really just giving you more ways forward. I won't know all the critiques because they have game trades which is being addressed. The rulebook I won't know till the final game, so it may be improved, may not be. But overall, it's a better system. I don't give games 6 out of 5 because I don't have that. So I ironically gave it a 5+ out of 5. That's going to be a rating system literally reserved for when a game improves upon something that I already gave a 5 out of 5. So basically expansions or developed content for games I already love and have already given a 5, that's where the 5+ rating will come and play. But I like this game. I like this game a lot. In fact, speaking of which, going to the remembering my pick of the week and all that stuff, Wild Ascent Lavon Rising is going to be both my personal pick of the week and my value pick of the week. This game, I believe, will hold its value to the point that I gave this I gave it my Patreon insurance thing, which is a $10 pledge. Basically, I guarantee your pledge. If you back the all-in on this game, I guarantee you your money back on this game because this is a good game. I know this is a good game. game. Most people who have played this game have really liked this game. They have criticized the various aspects that make it slightly frustrating to dive in. They've criticized the rules. They've criticized the inserts. They've criticized different aspects of the game. And yet they all seem to, not all, they mostly seem to love the game. If you want to have someone who's going to a little bit anti-sell you, watch One Stop Co-op Shop. I'm recommending his video because I believe, as much as I'm going to sell you on the game, I believe in trying to have you anti-sold as well. Go to his video, check it out. He was more mixed on the game. He liked different aspects of it, was more mixed on different aspects. I will say that his complaints about the story and the encampment phase, those are going to be partially addressed by Lavon Rising. Lavon Rising gives you a much better story, and it gives you alternative ways to develop than the encampment phase. I like the encampment phase, but I understand his complaints with it. But yeah, this is a good game. I'm picking this as both my value pick of the week and my personal pick of the week as far as games that I'm choosing from. Granted, I'm only picking from like 6 games technically, so it's not necessarily as meaningful, but all the same, that's going to be Wild Ascent Lavon Rising, a game that I believe will hold its value. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is on that one. A game with gorgeous miniatures, but a game that you might have to wait for. That is the downside. They're very ambitious. Lazy Squire Games is a very ambitious company putting out very good games. I'm very excited for Storm Sunder now, more so than I was before. I was hesitant on Storm Sunder because it's so much game, but I like their systems enough. They are easy, they are accessible, they have complaints. The enemy AI is on the weaker side. And that's true. If you're looking for Kingdom of the Monster, get Kingdom of the Monster. There's going to be some sacrifices in terms of making the game more accessible, but it might make the game not what you're looking for. That's going to be a wrap on everything. 53 minutes, altogether not too bad. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Oh wait, no, I was supposed to talk about something. I was supposed to talk about my Unfair and Unbalanced. So, if you jump to this timestamp now, hey, welcome. Unfair and Unbalanced is going to be a Patreon-specific series where I have talked about this before, but I usually hide it in the end of a video. I don't really just tell you I'm talking about it, but it's been going for 3 months now, and I'm pretty happy with it. Unfair and Unbalanced is going to be a series where I basically tell you all the reasons you should not back a game. The reason it's Patreon exclusive is twofold. First of all is I need to give you a reason past supporting me. I need to give some people a reason to actually sign up. And secondly is I am fairly aggressive, I'm fairly mean, and it is unfair and unbalanced. It is not a reasonable, measured approach to whether you should or should not back a game. It is focusing on all the reasons you should not back a game, giving you legitimate reasons why you might want to save your money and focus on other things. I will attack a game from the stance of the value, which I already do over here. I will attack the games from the stance of you don't need another game like that in your collection, or from any degrees, any way I could possibly say, here's why you shouldn't be getting this game. Here's why you should be holding off. Here's why you should reconsider getting that game. I will do that, and I don't want that. I want people to understand the point of the series before they watch it. I don't want it just showing up in, your next recommended video on YouTube, which is the other reason it's Patreon exclusive. It is unfair, it is unbalanced, and I want that to be clear. I've had publishers who've watched the videos who have not been thrilled with it, and I understand that. It has to go towards a catered audience of people who understand that the point literally is to be unfairly aggressive as to reasons you should save the money. I will say that I believe it will save you money. It's going to be a hard Patreon push. It's a $5 pledge. If you don't want it, that's totally fine. But the idea of it is that I have legitimately stopped backing some Kickstarters because of the series, because I sit there on camera and tell my patrons and myself why it doesn't make sense to back some games. I will still back some of these games. I will, with Wild Ascent, Lavon Rising. I will tell you all the reasons you should skip this game. I can come up with legitimate reasons why you should skip it. I am backing it because I like the game too much, but there are legitimate reasons why you should not get this game, not least the $370 price tag. Hold its value or not, that is expensive. But I will try to, my goal with this series of Unfair and Balanced is the anti-FOMO. My goal is to specifically and intentionally try to give you not the FOMO of fear of missing out, of missing the Kickstarter, but rather to give you the fear of, do you really need to back this game? Are you going to regret it later? I'm trying to instill the counter FOMO in there. So that's going to be a little bit of a pitch towards my Unfair and Unbalanced video series. I do recommend watching it. People have been fairly positive about how it stopped them from backing Kickstarters. And like I said already, I have legitimately saved myself, like every week I decide not to back at least one thing because I say it enough times on camera and I believe it myself. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. Well, I appreciate you, plain and simple. Until next time, have a good one. Let's see what Legion of Games wanted. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. It looks like he wanted the rules and scenarios for Lavon Rising. Glad you found it. Okay. I should have included my printout printout. Sorry. I had it set aside while I read other story paths. Basically, I had, in addition to forgetting to send Leisure Games of Dragon, I had the rules and scenarios and stuff for Lavon Rising set aside because I was going through the various story paths to see how different things changed in Lavon Rising. So it wasn't in the box I sent him, which means he now needs to print out 30 pages himself, which might be a better thing because I think the ones I had like a few small typos in it. Like there was one pathway where it told you to go to the wrong area, which they fixed in the PDF since then. Either way, past that, basically small little updates. First of all is platformer. Just I got that one wrong. I thought this was going to be July 1st. I believe it was July 1st. I'm pretty sure they changed the date. So I put up my review earlier, which is great. It's ironic because I only put it up when I did. I had a 4-video day, which I tried to avoid, but I did it because they had the game going up and I had to cover it. That's going to be that. Past that, no secret major spoilers here. I'm really enjoying Loki. Tomorrow night, or tonight for you, I guess. Tonight for you, I'm probably watching Tomorrow War. Critic reviews seem to be bashing it, but overall, Rotten Tomato reviews look great. I'm optimistic. It looks cool. I like Chris Pratt. I like Chris Pratt. Video looks cool. I remember I told people at one point I was watching Monster Hunter World, the video game, the movie, and people were like, "I'm so sorry for you," and they were right. That was horrific. It was one of the worst movies I've watched this year. But other movies are pretty decent. I'm looking forward to what's it called? Scarlet Widow next week. That'll be fun. That's gonna be a good use of time. Anyways, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And until next time, have a good one.